Hi everyone, this is Sanjana from Mockat, and today we are continuing our What After Cat series and talking about the SNAP exam. So, in this video, I'll be telling you about the SNAP exam, what is the syllabus, and what is the strategy that you can adopt to get a 99 percentile or higher. So, this exam is conducted by the Symbiosis Institutes, the main ones being SIBM Pune, SCM HRD Pune, but there are 15 or 16 Symbiosis Institutes that accept the SNAP score. The registration is of course over, but a great thing about this exam is they take the best of three scores. So the exam is scheduled on 10th, 17th and the 22nd of December. You can take 1, 2 or 3 exams and they'll simply take the best score. The exam itself consists of 60 questions in 60 minutes. I'm telling you the format based on the past years, but that's something which is expected to continue. 15 questions on the English side, LR will be 25 questions and 20 questions for quant and DIDS. All the questions will be multiple choice questions. Every correct question gets us 1 mark and every incorrect question gets us minus 0.25. So there is negative marking. Now, one thing with SNAP is they don't come out with the exact syllabus, and every year there's a couple of new variants which are introduced. So, for example, last year we had compound words which was brought in, there was verbal reasoning which was brought in the LR section. So, just go prepared mentally for that there will be some new types of questions, even if you've prepared a fair bit. Don't let that fluster you because that's going to be the same for everyone. Now, another good thing about this exam is there's no sectional timer, there's no sectional cutoff. They'll simply come out with your overall percentile and you just need to maximize that. So it especially works out if you feel you're a little weaker in one of the sections. It doesn't matter here. You just need to maximize your overall score. So certain things about the SNAP exam. One, of course, it's helping us to get into multiple top B schools. So SIBM Pune, SCM HRD Pune, others also, grade B schools, good faculty, good experience, good placements. So lot of reasons to take this exam and target your best score here. This is something which works out well for you if your speed is good. So if you're fast at calculating, if you're fast at reading, these are things which will help you in this exam. And that's something which you can practice. You can come over to mockat.com. Just come to the prep zone here. You have speed math where you can practice multiplication, percentages, things like that. You can also practice quant questions out here in the speed quant section. We have speed verbal where you can practice both your vocabulary and grammar, which come up in the general English section. The other thing, as I mentioned, there's no sectional timer. So there isn't like CAT where we have 40, 40, 40 minutes, or even NMAT where we have, different time set for each section. Here you can play around with it. You can switch between sections. If you feel one section is tough, you can go to another section. You can come back. So that's a huge advantage which we have. In case if you are better at either quant or LR, again, this is an exam where you can expect to score well because this is where you have higher questions. We have 15 questions on the English side and 20 and 25 in quant and in the LR section. These questions are also easier, so you can actually solve a lot more. So take CAT DILR, for example. If it can happen that, we're struggling with the set for 15, 20 or even 30 minutes and we're not getting it. But here it's singlet questions, they're much easier, so you can actually look to solve a lot more. And another advantage is fewer test takers, right? So we had 2.88 lakh people that took CAT this year. The number of SNAP takers are usually a lot lower. And anybody who ends up doing well in CAT, they either might not turn up or they might not prepare well for this exam. So again, something which will work out if you put your best foot forward. So what is the syllabus which you have in SNAP? Now, if you've put in your prep for CAT, these are the additional things that you need to prepare for. In the general English, most of the questions are different. The bulk of the focus is going to be around vocabulary and grammar. From a prep perspective, what I would recommend here is look at the grammar section, because vocabulary, see, you can look at words, probably looking at idioms, figures of speech. These are things which you can prepare for. But the number of words that we have in the English language are, of course, huge. So you can't expect that, in the next 1 or 2 weeks you will learn as many as possible. No matter how many you learn, there could be something else which comes up. But grammar, if you know the rules, you practice it, you should be able to get most of the questions. So on the vocabulary side, be prepared for different types of questions. There'll be some new question type which comes up. It was compound words last year, direct to reported speech. So some new thing will come up. It will be true for everyone. Maybe look at things like idioms, figures of speech, things like these which you can look to quickly solve. Another one would be groups of animals, collective nouns, things like that which you can prep instead of just trying to memorize a whole lot of words. The LR side, you definitely need to put in the practice here because we're going to have 25 questions. These are typically singlet questions or maybe, sets of two. What you can expect over and above things like matching and ranking and blood relations and all of that, you can get puzzles, clocks and calendar questions, sequences or input output types of questions. So these are the ones which you can definitely look to practice. I'll link a video which I had put up last year after Snap to share the types of questions. So that's something you can look at, solve past papers, look at a lot of Snap mocks. It's a 1 hour exam, right? You can even solve a couple of mocks a day, things like that, and just practice these. We generally teach these to our students, but whatever content you have or even free resources like YouTube, use that and prep as much as you can out here. The other thing which came up in the LR section was they brought in verbal reasoning as well. So this is very similar to what comes up in NMAT typically. So things like cause and effect. So you can have a couple of statements. You got to figure out if one is the cause, another is the effect. Both are causes, both are effects. None of these things like these syllogisms. So all red is blue, some green is blue, and then you'll have questions based on that. You could also get a paragraph or an extract, and they would ask about assumptions or conclusions, things like that. So this was brought in last year. We can expect it to continue. I would definitely recommend preparing for this, especially if you've already taken NMAT, you would be prepared for the bulk of this, or if you're taking NMAT, this is again something which will be helpful there. On the quant front, we will have singlet or maybe set of two data interpretation and data sufficiency questions probably. But the major difference here is the questions are easier, but they're more calculation intensive, right? And I'll talk about how to deal with that when we come to the strategy next. But this is something that you need to be prepared for. Again, coming on to Mockat and doing the speed math and speed quant is something that should hopefully help. So now, obviously my score is higher, but then this is the strategy which we recommend to our students who've gone ahead and, got a 99 percentile and, either they're studying in SIBM or SAMHRD or they've got through these colleges, they've graduated from here. This is the strategy which has worked for our students. So try it out in a few mocks, play around with the time that I'm going to suggest and just refine the strategy to get the best score possible for you. So to get a 99 percentile, what we've usually seen is we need to get 40 or a little higher, right? And remember, we have negative marking as well. So we can't just do 40 out of 60 questions. We're looking to solve pretty much the entire paper. So try to solve as many questions as you can, work on your speed along with accuracy. I would suggest start with the verbal. This is a quick kill. Depending on your reading speed, you can look to wrap it up in 5 to 10 minutes, right? All of the questions. Whatever you know, you know. Whatever you don't know, say it's a vocabulary question, it's an idiom you don't know at all, right? Just leave it. If you're torn between a couple of options, just choose one or mark for review. I would say just choose one. Wherever you're torn between a couple of options, just go with your gut, right? Some errors you will get as a result, but time is extremely important here. We can't be dithering between two options and things like that for long, right? So say if you have something like a scrambled word, you spend 30 seconds, 45 seconds, it's not striking you. Just mark it for review and move on. Then come to LR. All the doable questions. By this, I mean the easy and the medium questions, the questions which you can solve fast, right? Those are the ones which you do. Anything where you feel, yes, I can work it out, but it's been a minute, it's still not struck me or I've still not got to the end of it. If you feel you can finish it off in the next 30 seconds, persist. Otherwise, if it's not striking you, you're stuck, just mark for review and move on. Do the same thing for quant. Here I'm recommending 15 minutes because it's 20 questions instead of 25 in LR. Please tweak these times. So if quant is your strong suit, instead of 15, you can spend 20 minutes here, a little less in verbal and LR, and you can try to solve all the questions, including ones which maybe others wouldn't know, but you know how to do it, or maybe it's taking a little extra time, but you can get it. So do tweak the times based on your strength, practice a few mocks, see what's working for you. But what is important is don't fall in love with questions in this exam. In CAT, if we spend 4 to 5 minutes in a quant question, it can still be fine because you will still have 35 minutes left for the others, and you can learn from your mistakes. But here, if you're spending 2, 3, 5 minutes in one question, that's extremely valuable time that you're losing, right? Because in CAT, we have 66 questions in 60 minutes, and hardly anybody finishes the paper. You half the marks are getting you 99%. But here we are targeting 40 plus marks in the span of 1 hour, right? 60 questions in 60 minutes. So you simply cannot afford to spend too much time on a question, even if you're getting it right. If it's taking you 3 minutes, you could have solved a couple more questions in that time, right? And that would have given you 1 mark extra, which is extremely important over here. So just make sure that you bring in that discipline, especially in the mock itself. That is the part which is very, very important for your test taking strategy. And that is something where I've seen that, for our students, especially when they practice, something like a speed math, and, they're setting a timer and they're doing it, and they're trying to maximize the number of questions, or even the speed quant, speed verbal, all of these, right? That is something which really helps to bring in the discipline. Now, whatever time you have left, try to solve all the mark for review questions. And if you still have time left, then you can look at all the unattempted questions. Please use the question paper palette. You can skip between sections. Just make sure, you're not doing, okay, next. You're just clicking on the right question every, few seconds also matter over here. And one very important thing is focus on accuracy along with speed. Speed is very important. Accuracy is equally important. Every minus 0.25 that you can convert to a +1, that's 1.25 marks extra that you are getting. So read the question with focus. If you have a question like, let's say a geometry question, make sure you're answering what they're asking you, whether it's the radius or the diameter or the volume or whatever it is. Or if it's a question like, Ram was 40 years old when his kid was like 5 years old, or whatever it is, just make sure that you're putting in whoever's age that they are asking. So read the question with focus. That's one thing. Avoid calculation errors and silly mistakes and things like that. Those are marks that you should not be losing in this exam. So just to sum up, speed and accuracy, both are equally important. Refine it in the practice sessions. Focus on your strengths. That is the area to maximize the number of questions, and that is going to maximize your marks, of course. Avoid longer questions. You can always mark it for review and come back again. Please bring in this discipline when you are taking snap mocks. Definitely take a bunch of snap mocks and analyze them, right? 5 to 10 mocks at least. We provide 10 mocks for our students. A lot of places where you'll get snap mocks, past papers you can solve in the exam format itself, and bring in the discipline, test taking strategy, accuracy. All of these should come in. And this is something which hopefully you've done. Hopefully you've signed up for multiple attempts, because the Symbiosis Institutes will simply take your best percentile of all two or all three. Now we will be putting up a video on the first SNAP exam. So stay tuned for that. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That should help you for the second and the third attempts. We'll also be bringing in a lot of content around the other exams, interviews. I've just put up a similar video for ZAT, where I've recommended a couple of ZAT strategies. So check that out if you haven't yet. And all the very best to you.